I didn't grow up dreaming of being a fighter. I just grew up trying to survive. Back then, life taught me how to run, how to hide, and how to fight back. Every single punch I've thrown, it wasn't just for a win. It was a way to prove that I mattered. Because when the world forgets you, you fight to remember who you are. You wouldn't be talking to me right now if I didn't find boxing. I would have been dead. When I was 12, I was homeless. Fuck, je m'excuse, dude, j'ai la misère. C'est tough. It's really hard. There was always anger in my household, screaming. My dad and my mom had a pretty bad altercation. I just witnessed my dad getting handcuffed, and all I heard was my mom screaming. My dad went away, so my mom stayed at the place we were living in, and my mom was an alcoholic, so it started with inviting one friend over to sleep over to live at my place, to another friend, and it became like the drug house of my town, basically. And it got to a point where we were selling speed, cocaine, weed. I was the runner. I was like the less heat because I was only 12. And it got to a point where we couldn't pay rent anymore. And I went to my buddy's house for a weekend to sleep over there. And I came back home and my house was empty but trashed. And I was just sitting on the only couch that was in the house. Like, I didn't know where my mom was at all. And then the landlord came in and told me, like, hey, get the fuck out. You guys been evicted, it's been a few days. The only place I could think of going was across the street to a closed gated dumpster bin, because in my mind, in the movies I saw when I was 12, is like, when you're homeless, you're like picking trash for some reason. So I just stayed there. It sucks to say that I couldn't reach my mom, and I also felt like I couldn't go to my dad's. I had no place else to go. And my mom, I believe she went to rehab. I just felt like it didn't make sense. It just doesn't feel like you're supposed to be there at 12. And like, I remember like I would sometime get out of that dumpster bin and then I would just see their kids with their BMX laughing and, you know, just being kids, and I'm just like fucking homeless. Like, I must not be loved if I'm here. I thought I was gonna be alone forever. It was really hard. I never really processed it. I don't know how. I lived with my dad for like 4 or 5 years after that. He knew I was doing drugs. The best thing he did was just accept that that's where I am now in my life and try to guide me away from it, which he did. So it was rough. It was still like some screaming and pushing and shoving and slapping. My mom, when she got out of rehab, she got a pretty nice place in the country. And when I went to my mom's, I was like, this is so much more peaceful. I don't feel like I'm walking on eggshells. And I decided to just move at my mom's. Everything I do, I feel like it came from a trauma, you know, and I never like really started a habit out of like excitement. It was always like as an escape. I proposed to the mother of my kid with a very expensive ring. She said no. I got up, got in my car, and I fucking started driving. Fucking pissed off. I didn't know where I was going. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to a pawn shop. I'm pawning this ring. I don't have the receipt anymore. You know, I'm just gonna pawn the friggin' ring. As I'm pawning it and I'm getting my money, I see a punching bag, some gloves. So I got back home to my mother and my kid, like her feeling so bad for saying no, and I was like, I'm good. And I went and hung up the punching bag. That was like 4 years ago, and I started boxing there. And it humbled me. When I first walked into a gym after 1 year of punching a punching bag in my basement, staying grounded and not moving my feet, when I started sparring against people that were moving compared to a bag who was standing still, my face was really sore. I feel like I'm living in like imposter syndrome almost. Like, I call myself a boxer, or I say I do boxing, but I still always feel outcasted, and that's why I work so hard. I do feel good. It's a great escape. Like, when I put those gloves on, like, my brain shuts off finally. But there's always the thought of, I gotta be better. Everyone's better than me. Like, can I even compete with these guys? It's always in the back of my head. And my boxing journey hasn't been easy, because every single time I would get close to having a fight or a competition, something would constantly happen where First thing, I had an abscess. It was an infection that was wrapping around the jawbone. I did many CAT scans, and I found out that if it kept growing, that I was gonna have to have my jaw replaced with a piece of metal, like a surgery. So like every time I found boxing a way to escape, and everything in my life was like avoiding me from doing that thing. And then I start, training again, gaining the weight. I'm living at a roommate's at the time. I'm not doing good financially. I had lost like everything, right? Then the buddy I'm living with threatens to stab me with a knife and kicks me out. So now I'm homeless. And then somebody at work that I barely knew, like I opened up to him and I told him I was homeless. And he's like, look, I have an RV, but I'm going hunting in a month. So you got a month, stay in it. Take the time it takes, live there. And even though I was homeless and I felt again like at the same spot I felt when I was 12, like I had so much tools in my tool belt. So I knew kind of what to do to save myself from that feeling. So I didn't really feel hopeless, but every morning I would run on the same road and I would just look at sunrise and I would talk to God as I was running. Like, give me strength and guidance. That's basically like the key words of the prayers every morning. And now I'm healthy, and I'm gonna be fighting soon, so I'm excited. Hopefully, knock on wood, nothing happens, but. My life today? Wow. Have you ever been to a construction site? Yeah, that's my life right now. 4 kids in this household, a girlfriend, and me with my own fucking voices in my head. So it's really hectic. It's not easy with 4 kids, just like, hey babe, I'm going to train for 3 hours. Like, have fun doing the dishes, the cooking, the bathing, and the bedding, whatever. But she supports it. I definitely feel a strong responsibility to provide for my family emotionally, financially, spiritually, because I don't want my kids to ever feel how I felt. When you're fighting to survive, there's no end goal. The fight is never ending. It's nonstop. And what happens if you fight nonstop? Like back in the day when boxing started, you get concussed, you get brain damage, you end up being a vegetable. It's the same thing. If you're fighting to survive nonstop, you're gonna just literally mentally kill yourself because there's no end goal. But fighting to win is because at least you see a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm no longer fighting to survive. Wow, I'm not fighting to survive. That's crazy. I would tell my 12-year-old self that it's not his fault. It's not his fault.
This is my life. This is my life. Yeah, yeah, this is my life. This is my life. Yeah, yeah, this is my life.
People think fighting is about anger, but real fighters, we fight with focus, with love, with pain that we've turned into purpose. And that's the art of the fight.
Yeah, yeah,